Going on, Falcon fan? This is your boy Ricondo coming back with another video. So today we're gonna talk about just talk about quick game yesterday and talk about how the Falcons are actually building this team um through the weeks and how they're actually establishing a good identity that I think can push these guys not just the rest of this year but moving forward and establishing what we want this team to be, in years to come. So guys, before we get into that, if you have not already, go ahead and please subscribe to the channel. Please hit that notification bell so you know when I drop another video. Please hit the like button so I know you guys like to hear what I talk about. Then please share my video throughout the YouTube universe so more people can come in and hear me talk about these Atlanta Falcons. Like I said, I love to come on here talk to everybody about the Atlanta Falcons. But if you have not, go ahead and share this channel with other people, other Atlanta Falcon fans that come in and share, give them their opinions, their information, and all that kind of stuff as well. And then we give feedback to each other. Definitely like to talk to you guys every day. Watch this Atlanta Falcon team do what it's been doing this year. This one of the most exciting teams we don't had in a while. Regardless, if they're winning or losing games, I think every week we actually have been in a good spot, and and they're just making it exciting for us this year. So, what else can we ask for in the NFL season? What's going on, Kevin? We really didn't have, any kind of expectations for this team this year, but this team is giving us a lot to like, um, a lot of things to be happy about in the future. So let's just enjoy the ride the rest of this season and see what these guys can do. But let's get into some of the topics that I want to talk about tonight. Um, what's going on, James? And the first topic I want to talk about tonight is just the injury update. Um, didn't really hear a lot, but we did see a lot of our guys go down yesterday. Especially our three cornerbacks, AJ Terrell, Casey Hayward, and Isaiah Oliver all went out the game. Um, Arthur Smith did say today that um, Isaiah Oliver and AJ Terrell probably is going to be good to go. Not long term. Still don't know if they're going to be able to go this week. We haven't got an injury report. We'll get that on Wednesday to see if those guys actually practice. But Casey Hayward, it may be another story. His injury did look a little bit more serious. Maybe he might have tore a labrum or something. We don't know. But he was down a while, and he actually went straight to the locker room. So, Casey Hayward, we have to sit back and figure that out. Of course, we know we was very excited getting a veteran like him, 10-year guy coming into this team, signed a 2-year deal with the Atlanta Falcons, playing on the opposite side of AJ Terrell. So we kind of felt like that other side was going to be solidified, but if Casey Hayward's going to go down, of course, Darren Hall came in. He played very well yesterday, and the minutes that came in and played in spot of Casey Hayward, and he'd probably be the guy who gets the nod. And then these guys definitely got to go ahead and make some roster decisions because um, yesterday went once all our those three guys went out. We had nobody else that was on the bench. Everybody else was in the game. So all our cornerbacks that we had left in the game actually was on the field. And that was Mike Ford, D. Alford, Darren Hall. So if Casey Hayward is going to be out for an extended period of time, um, hopefully it's not for the rest of the year. But if it is, the Atlanta Falcons got to probably make some kind of move to bring somebody in to solidify that cornerback position. Right now, I have to go back and look and see who's actually on the practice squad. If anybody they might want to bring up from the practice squad, but um, this could bring back into the question. A lot of people asking about trades and things like that. We know the trade deadline is in November. Do they want to actually make a trade for one of those cornerbacks that's out there? We'll just have to see what they decide to do. But right now, as far as the injury report for those three cornerbacks, that's where we're at. Of course, Taquan Graham went down yesterday as well. But Taquan Graham, right? He came back into the game, so he should be good. He actually finished the game yesterday on the field, so don't seem like that's the issue. regarding Taquan Graham. I'm really glad to see that he actually um, was able to come back out. He's been playing lights out, guys. I know everybody don't look at the, you can't see it from the stat sheet, but if you look at the game and you look at him, that time with him and Grady Jarrett, yes, Grady's making plays. I get it, but Taquan Graham is wreaking havoc as well in the backfield. The point of attack, he's creating those open lanes for our linebackers to get and make plays like we need to. So Taquan Graham was playing great. So really good to see him come back to the field yesterday. Of course, we know we had Okendeji out and we had Michael Walker out yesterday. We'll see what's the status of those guys back on Wednesday. See if they're actually able to practice. So those are the guys injury report for the guys that was already active on the team. Of course, we do have some guys on IR as well. Arthur Smith did not give any update on those guys. Of course, CP got 2 more weeks, so he can't come back until then. Damon Williams is able to return, but we still haven't heard anything about him. Of course, then that leaves Marlon Davidson, Jalen Mayfield, and John Fitzpatrick, the rookie tight end that we drafted this year as well. So those guys still are IR. Arthur Smith did not give an update on those guys. Maybe on Wednesday, if they decide to activate any of those guys, which we will find out. But as of right now, that's where we're at with the injuries. Like I said, hopefully it's not something that's a long time. But we're going to talk about a lot of stuff today. What I want to do is like paint like a story, a picture about this team, and that's what I was just in the mindset today, thinking about. And the next topic I'm gonna basically hit on, guys, is the identity and culture of this team, right? And you know, each franchise when they come in, they get a new coach and a regime, and you they want to establish their identity, what they want to be all about, their culture of this team. And then when you play this team, everybody say when they look at that team, that's what that team's all about. Last year, it was hard to kind of get a grasp on the identity and the culture of this team because some of the things that Arthur Smith wanted to do, he just was not able to do last year. Of course, he had a makeshift roster, a lot of guys that was on contract from the old regime, right? Some of the salary cap situation we had to bring a lot of guys in on 1 year deals and things like that. So it was really hard to actually um, get a grasp on what kind of identity that Arthur Smith was trying to create here with this team, him and this coaching staff. But after 1 year, I thought he did a great job last year, winning 7 games with what he had coming in this year. Pretty much revamped the whole roster, built into the guys that they wanted here, and the kind of culture that they wanted to build. And you can start to see week in and week out what this team is trying to establish. And this is just what I see. You guys can definitely tell me what you think about this culture and idea in this team. But I think this is a run first, smash mouth team. They want to be physical on both sides of the trenches, and the offensive line and defensive line. This is a selfless team. Every man is doing their part, just to get wins, right? That's what's happening. I mean, you got a guys like a Drake London and a Kyle Pitts, who's definitely is sacrificing, production from their standpoint and doing the dirty work, right? I mean, these are talented guys. We want to see guys like Drake London and Kyle Pitts put up numbers. And trust me, I got Kyle Pitts on my fantasy team, so I'm hurting right now because he's not putting up the numbers that I know good damn well he could definitely do. If we was to go out and pass the ball around with Kyle Pitts and Drake London. But the thing is, with this team, these guys are selfless, man. Drake London, Kyle Pitts, they love to block, right? They're making the plays when they need to be made. We saw fireness from Drake London yesterday, right? Going out, getting into it with guys, but making the plays when need to be made. Kyle Pitts had a great seal block to get Kayla Huntley on that last drive that we got. and then he was rewarded with a touchdown. So that's those are the kind of things I'm talking about. Um, Plays like that that you don't see on the stats, but you watching the game and you can see when guys out there being selfless. Those are the kind of things I'm talking about. Guys like Drake London, guy like Kyle Pitts is sacrificing themselves, and that's the kind of team that these guys are building. A run first, smash mouth team, physical on both sides of the ball. Um, Guys selfless, playing for one another. They talked about one of the 11. That's what they preached in training camp. And then you got the young talented guys like a Drake London and Kyle Pitts that sacrifice some of their production numbers to go out and do the dirty work to get these W's. And that's what we're starting to get. They aren't perfect, but they seem to truly be working towards a common goal. Team is bought in. Pruitt, a wide receiver, getting on board. Is- that's exactly what I'm talking about, Kevin. That's what I'm talking about when we're looking at this team. These guys, I mean, let's be honest, this is a young team, right? This is a young team. Kyle Pitts, what, 21, 22, Drake London, 20 something. Um, you got two rookie running backs, you know, you got a converted defensive back who haven't played running back since he was in high school, and Avery Williams. These guys just going out doing the things that the coaching staff is asking them to do, and the coaching staff is putting these guys in good positions to be successful. And like you said, the proof is in the pudding, right? If you do this, you execute this. It's stuff going to work, and that's exactly what we're seeing from this team. It's the fact that these guys are actually going out and they doing what they're asking them by the coaches, and they seeing that it's working, right? We could not ask Kyle Pitts and Drake London to go out and block, you know, running the ball 40 times in the game. They ran the ball 40 times, guys. They ran 56 plays. They ran the ball 40 times yesterday. But you can't ask those guys to go out and do that if it's not the production's not there. And these guys are really buying in, and you can see the proof. So this is it. But what this also tell you that because we have those talented guys like a Drake London and like a Kyle Pitts, it's so much more room for growth. This team can actually be even better and do more than what it's doing right now, because right now we are a smash mouth team, but if we able to, open it up a little bit because we have these weapons on the outside as well, that's going to just make the team a little bit more. So it's just week 6. I can see this team growing and getting better and better throughout the year. But right now we know that the Atlanta Falcons want to run the ball. They want to be physical on offensive line and the defensive line, and they want to run the just eat that clock up, right? Eat the clock up. We talking about 11 play drives, 10 play drives. That's what they're doing, and we starting to see it, happen week in and week out. The last thing we're going to say, the Atlanta Falcons have ran over 150 yards in every game this year except one. Every game this year, 150 yards in every game except one, guys. That tells you the identity. That's what this team this team is all about, the identity. My favorite drive have been the last one by San Francisco. We made them chew up 8 minutes and they got nothing. Yes. That's what I'm talking about. I'm gonna talk about that in just a minute. I'm glad you brought that up, Kevin. Um, I like the way the backups played. I'm gonna talk about that too. Guys, you reading my mind, right? I'm gonna get into that too, James. I'm glad you brought that up. So, guys, like I said, that's the identity, that's the culture of this team. You got to see it. We can start to see it happening. Trust me, the league's starting to see it too. When a team wants to get out and stick to it, right? They want to stick to what they do best, right? Getting 3 yards, getting 2 yards, right? You get 3 yards here, 3 yards here. Good third down, good on third down, because third and four, third and three is always good for an offense most of the time because you can do so much on third, third and short. That's how you want to do. Takes a long time, right? And what happens is if you're watching the game, You watching the game, Fred Warner. Go back and watch the game. Watch how many times Fred Warner got hit by the tight ends, by the fullback, by the offensive lineman, right? They was they get tired of that all game long, guys. 40 times. I'm talking about 40 times. So every play, somebody coming and they hitting the linebacker, right? Fred Warner's a great linebacker, but eventually he's getting tired of these big linemen, these big fullbacks, these big tight ends come and hit him, get him off his spot to make plays. And after a while, they start to you start to take some of these guys' wheels. That's what happens. And then that's when you start to see those big runs. That's why you have to love the way Arthur Smith and this offensive line just keep sticking to it and doing the things that they got to do. That's the culture. That's the identity that the Falcons trying to develop. And you got to love it. It's just simple as that. You got to love it. Let me take this gum out. I really respect the 3 and 4 yard runs now. I love them now. Yes, yes, that's what I'm talking about. All right, it doesn't look pretty, but like I said, they ran 56 plays yesterday. They ran the ball 40 times. Trust me, no defense, no defensive backs, no linebackers, no safeties. Those guys do not want to take that pounding from those guards because those guards are trying to get up to those guards and centers are trying to get up to the next level. Those tackles are pulling out. Caleb McGarry had a good pull. Like I said, Kyle Pitts blocked down. Caleb McGarry pulled out. Now he's blocking one of the defensive backs, and that's when Caleb Huntley come right up his butt and increase the hole. Right, those are the kind of things we've seen from this team. That's the identity and the culture that they're trying to create. Take their hearts running the ball. Yes, yes, and the crazy thing about it is they know we want to run the ball, right? All right, we might get stuffed on one play. They take, we don't get any yards on one. Guess what? We coming right back, run it again, run it again, run it again. And then guys, the last part I want to talk about, the element or Marks Mariota running that ball is really, really, really hurting these guys because they trying to crash down and stop the running back, from that backside. But then Marcus Mariota just keeping it. Because if you crash too hard, right? You crash too hard, he's gonna pull it back out and take off right out of the backside. And that's what he did a couple times yesterday, right? Now you got that backside in have to stay home a little bit. And if he do stay home, it's gonna open up that hole for the running back to crease the hole. That's what we're seeing, guys. It's just amazing to see. And 6 weeks in, you're starting to see the Atlanta Falcon culture and their identity, what they're trying to create. Like I said, last year it was hard to see because it was so many, you know, excuse me, a new coaching staff, things like that. But now they got their guys, they got their players in here. It's been 1 year, 1 year in the system already. Guys are starting to believe, and that's what you want to see. They got no fight left to come back. Right, the defense done. The defense done. And then, last yesterday somebody talked about I think it was let's see here. Kevin talked about the 8 minute drive that they had. They drove the ball for 8 minutes. Right? We couldn't get the ball back, but they was down 2 scores. If you want to take 8 minutes when you down 14 points to try to put points on the board, we're gonna let you do that. And then you go look at the fourth quarter numbers, and everybody's like, the Falcons gave up 200 yards in the fourth quarter. Guess what? They didn't score any points, so they can have those 200 yards. That's what Arthur Smith mentioned today. That's what I'm talking about. All right, guys. The next topic, like I said, follow me here because I'm going with like right down and going up to the end here. The next thing is the confidence and the belief of this team, right? I think it's a quote out there that Grady said that, you know, they always believed that they could actually, play in this league. Of course, you know, the pundits out there, the so-called experts, um, said that the Falcons probably going to win by 2 games this year, and let's be honest, because they don't know this team, right? They just looking at the circumstances of dead cap, getting rid of Julio, getting rid of Matt, and things like that, and this just assume that this team is gonna just play for the draft, and they're not gonna be that good, you know. Um, and you can already saw the attitude that these guys had coming in, you know, from training camp, from OTAs, right? They was already had the confidence that, they don't like the disrespect because this, believe it or not, these professionals, these guys felt disrespected when they put out the rankings and they say Atlanta Falcons is the 31st worst team in the league and they only gonna win 2 games this year. And then people already had draft prospects for 2023 talking about that. It's just disrespectful. Nobody had played a game this year. Um, that's what these guys were seeing, and of course, you can't have outside noise, motivate you to do the things you can do, and that's why I believe these guys' confidence and belief that they have shown is just growing on these guys. I ain't even know they gave up 200. I mean I don't know how many yards it was in the fourth quarter, but even if it was 200, it was close to it, man. They gave up a lot of yards in the fourth quarter, but um, my point was just saying that giving up all those yards and no points is just, I mean, because the 49ers kept the ball for like 8 minutes in that quarter, right? And they gave up no yards at all. Um, and I think they had it twice in the fourth quarter, so a lot of yards. They bought into the system 100%. You definitely know that. They're definitely bought in. Fans gotta have fans gotta have a chance of thinking the yard stats don't matter if we're winning. Yeah, you got to start looking at the guys, and that's why I want to talk about the confidence and beliefs. I'm going to get to another point in just a minute about the point that Kevin just made about the stats and don't matter and things like that. But when you talk about the confidence, um, this is what I mean when I talk about the confidence and belief. And if you look at it like this, 4 straight weeks, and I don't know when the last time we can say this about Atlanta Falcon team. 4 straight weeks, the Atlanta Falcon defense been on the field and played great. Yes, and I'm including the Tampa Bay game because I feel that they should have got off the field in Tampa Bay when Grady Jarrett got the sack, right? So that's 4 straight weeks. The first week was in Seattle, right? They came and got off the field against the got Browns. They, in my opinion, got off the field against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, even though the roughing the passer continued to drive, and then they was able to get out the field yesterday. Niners. That's 4 straight weeks. I don't know. I don't know when the last time we can actually say that about the Atlanta Falcons team, where the defense was on the field and they made a stop to put us in position to win the game. They made a stop to put us in position to win the game. I don't know when the last time we can say that about the Atlanta Falcon team, right? That's that confidence and that belief that the team believe that if the offense give them a lead, hey, they're gonna go out and they're gonna win the game. We haven't had that in Atlanta for a long time, right? We haven't had that in Atlanta for a long time. So, and if you want to go back to the Rams game, the defense made a stop, right? And we had a chance to win that game. So we could say 5 straight weeks that the defense actually put this team in position to actually get a win. That's why a lot of people saying we could easily be 5-1, 6-0, or something like that because this team has been in every game and had a chance to actually win it at the end. And we cannot say that um, the defense have been a part of that, right? Um, like I said, you go look at the stats and you look at the numbers, the yardage, and things like that. But this defense have been a part, and these guys started to get the confidence and belief that they can actually make the plays that they need to make. That's what I'm talking about. That's the kind of things that when you start to think about, um you can't like see the stats on that. You just got to start believing. I think these guys starting to believe that if they have a chance to go out there and put this game away, they can do it. That's what I like about this team. That's the confidence that I believe. Right, say it right. That all that matters. Giving up all 99 yards to make them kick a field goal. Right. That's 100% right. Right. That play that that Pinion made and Cardell Hodge, unsung hero. Right. They say special teams not important, but it's 4th and 5. We get off the field, we punt the ball back to them, and pin those guys at the 1 yard line. Pin those guys at the 1 yard line, right? So that's that that's perfect football, which brings me into my next point that I want to talk about. And those situations, right? Those situations starting to add up. I talked about the 4 or 5 times that the Atlanta Falcons defense been on the field at the end to actually make a play to end the game or to put us in position to win the game. If we're thinking about the Rams game, right? Because in the Rams game, these guys had opportunity to win that game because the defense made a play to get us off. All right. The Seattle game, defense made a play to get us off. Cleveland game, defense made a play to get us off. Tampa Bay game, the defense made a play, got bailed out by the refs to get us off the field. Yesterday in the 49ers game, the defense made the plays to get us off the field. Those situations, guys, they start to add up, and eventually those situations they're gonna start to matter because this team gonna have the confidence and the belief that they can actually get it done. Right? That's what we're starting to see. And we could never say that about the Falcons before. When the defense got on the field, we felt like we was probably gonna blow the game and we was gonna lose the game, right? That kind of gave us that feel, right, in that first game against the Aints because we had that game in hand. Our defense got on the field, and what happened, right? So we started like got that feel, but guys, these last 5 games, man, these guys been playing lights out, and it's those situational plays that Arthur Smith started talking about, and why I believe that it's just not. I'm not just talking offense. I'm talking about how the coaching staff plays situations, especially Arthur Smith. One of the things that we definitely had an issue with Dan Quinn was he didn't understand situational football. He always seemed to like blow situational footballs, and Arthur Smith plays situational football um, pretty good for a second year head coach. I mean, if I'm just going to talk about, I'm talking about this yesterday, but that drive we had um, right before the halftime, right? The San Francisco is getting the ball and start the second half. We have this drive. We go 11 plays, 75 yards, make them eat up their timeouts on the clock, right? We score a touchdown. It's 57 seconds left on the clock. That's situational football. Now they get the ball back. They don't have time to move the ball in the fashion that the 49ers want to move it because the 49ers want to eat clock too. They're not a quick strike team. They're going to try to use time possession, get the ball down the clock. That's what they do. What happened? Jimmy Garoppolo take a shot down the field. Isaiah Oliver come up with an interception in the half, right? Those are situations in football I'm talking about. Those situations the more they happen, they start to pile up, and then it starts to matter, right? That's what I'm saying. That's the confidence and belief that these guys starting to get, and that's you can't beat that, guys. You can't beat that. What's going on there? Um, I like what somebody said about Caleb Huntley is El Toro, which brings me up to my last point tonight, guys. I'm glad you talked about this because I think this is right here is one of the biggest things. With the whole talk about the Falcons continue to build from week to week, and they create an identity. And this is right here is the biggest thing that we're gonna talk about tonight, and that's the next man up. Right? We just talked about Kayla Huntley. They're gonna start calling El Toro because he runs the ball hard. Yep. Yeah, like you said, Mike, it makes them desperate. You're 100%. When they start to can't, because think about it, it was down 14 in the end, right? Um, and they can't run the offense like they run it because, like I said, they're not a quick straight offense. Jimmy Garoppolo ain't built that way. He's never been. He's been a game manager, methodical. Kyle Shanahan want to eat up clock. He wants to play like sort of like um Arthur Smith wants to, right? That's why you got to play that complementary football with your team because if not, you're not going to be able to do it, right? But the next man up, guys. Let's just talk about the next man up mentality, right? First thing we're going to talk about obvious, right? What happened in the game? Three of our cornerbacks went down. All three of them. Isaiah Oliver, AJ Terrell, Casey Hayward. They all out the game. I was getting a little bit nervous. I'm not gonna lie to you because I was like, wow, we got young guys out there. Um, I'm scared Debo going to give. I thought Brandon Ayuk already had 8 receptions for 83 yards. He was going to start to even get more. But what happened? Guy like Darren Hall comes out, right? Darren Hall played outstanding yesterday. Next man up came in. You couldn't even tell. At one point, guys, I want you to tell you, at one point, Lorenzo Carter was out, Grady Jarrett was out, all our three cornerbacks was out, and we had Quentin Bell, D'Angelo Malone in the game. Like I said, D Alford, um, Darren Hall, Mike Ford, all those guys was in the game, and you couldn't even tell that those guys in the game because the Atlanta Falcons defense was still playing solid because they was believing the system and they was playing that next man up, right? Arthur Smith said it. If you on this roster, if you're on active 48 man roster, 48 man roster for act today, they believe you. So they're gonna put you out there and do the things you gotta do. Just simple. So you talk about Darren Hall, like I said, we're gonna talk about Mike Ford, right? Came out, he made it. Him and D Alfred had a great stop on third down against Telvin Coleman coming on the outside. Go back. They made that play. All right. Created a fourth down. The fourth down, Jimmy Garoppolo tried to force it into to Debo Samuel. That ends the game. Those are key plays. Omar Ebikadi, guys. This guy is gonna be a monster. Mark my words. Mark my words. He's not showing up on the stat sheets yet. But if you watched the game yesterday, he stayed in the backfield. He put constant pressure on Jimmy Garoppolo all day long. He got his first start yesterday, and he relished in it. He played outstanding football. Great draft pick. Going up in the second round, getting that pick on Katie. I thought that was a great signing. He's really doing his thing out there, and he's going to be a monster. Mark my word. Troy Anderson. Troy Anderson had his first start yesterday, filling in for Michael Walker. He had some lapses, right? Some people saying that first IU touchdown, um, and eye discipline. And I don't know if you looked on the sideline, Dean, please looked at him like it's eye discipline, right? It looks like AJ Terrell, but that wasn't his man. It was coming across the middle. The linebackers got to be there. Like I said, he's young. He's gonna make mistakes, but he led the team in tackles yesterday. Troy Anderson. And you see like I said, athleticism. You saw the big play he made on the punt, you know, to make the tackle, even though they scored on that drive and made it 14 all, but he did have a touchdown saving tackle on that punt return. So Troy Anderson is going to be good. He's going to have some growing pains, but guys, you can already see um, the explosive, the talent, and the ability that he has. Um, You could feel it. They were like sharks in blood water. They were circling to kill. Yes, yes. They man, those guys was ready, man. Rashawn Evans played lights out too. Um, his big play on the back down, the punch out he had, and putting us up 14. AJ Terrell kept taking that back to the house. Luckily, he didn't fumble it out of bounds, or that would have been a touchback instead of a touchdown. And somebody said we had that we didn't have any depth last year. I tell you that much, but we definitely got depth now. Um, And I'm not through, guys. Like I said, we're gonna talk about D. Alford. D. Alford coming in, made the team. You know his story coming from the Canadian Football League. This guy is playing great football for us, making plays. Of course, he had his first career interception against the Browns in that game to solidify that game. He's going to have mistakes as well, young player. But these guys have the next play mentality. That's what you want, especially if you're DB. You want the next play mentality. That's what you're doing. Let's talk about Michael Pruitt, right? Just brought up from the practice squad, gets the first touchdown of the game. All right. Um, that's what I'm talking about, guys. Said it. He said it and he meant it. If you part of this 48 man active day roster, game day roster, they're gonna trust you, right? And Michael Pruitt gets the touchdown, the first touchdown, right? They had Kyle Pitts and Drake London on the opposite side. Trust me, they set those guys up. That was the decoy. The Kyle Pitts and Drake London out there. Everybody's probably peeping over there. And then what the play call? Brilliant play call. They go opposite side to Michael Pruitt, and he delivered. That's what I'm talking about. You got to trust your guys. But guys like Michael Pruitt, let's talk about Kobe Gossett. He wasn't in this game. Of course, he was in the Seattle game, but right, next man up, coming in, filling in for Elijah Wilkinson, coming in. And Cordell Patterson had a great running game that game. If you guys remember, great rushes that week. Cordell Patterson had over 140 some rushing yards. I'm talking about every guy coming in, next man up, doing the things they got to do. They were pissed about the call last week. They said, yeah, they don't even put it in the hands of the refs. I agree. The crazy thing about that call last week, that call and the call on the Sunday night game against the Chiefs, neither one of those players were fined for roughing the passer, which means that the league and the felt like they did not rough the passer, so those bad calls on both of those. So the gentleman that was on here, I don't forgot his name, that came in last Sunday, and it was like that was a good call. It was not a good call. We all knew it was not a good call. But we can't. It's over. That play is over. We can't do nothing about it. Um, but like I said, that's why, in my opinion, the Falcons, from a defensive standpoint, have made four straight defensive stops in a game to put us in a chance to actually go win those games. I think our advantages are depth. Offer is cornerback too now. I'm not even worried. I think they're gonna keep Alford playing in the inside. You might be right, but I think Darren Hall is actually gonna probably fill in for Casey Hayward. Um, but if they put Alford out there, I'm not. I'm like you. He gonna give up some plays. We got a big task ahead of us on this Sunday going up to Cincinnati. Those guys play a lot of 11 personnel, which means they put a lot of three receivers out there. So we definitely got to get ready for this team. This one of the teams that Joe Burrow is want to pass the ball down. I hope AJ Terrell is ready to go because I want him to get his rematch against Jamar Chase. Everybody remember that national championship game against Clemson and LSU. And I just hope AJ Terrell is ready to go because I want him to get back against Jamar Chase. Just in talking about our depth, I agree. Um, Young Bucks want a chance to prove themselves. Man, they're getting their chance. Um, Arthur Smith said today, which is, and I don't want to forget Nate Landman. Nate Landman had some good pressures. Like I said, Quentin Bell is another guy. D'Angelo Malone, his few snaps that he had, he got pressures as well. Every body they put in the game, guys, seemed like they have made a play. Um, um, our Abdul Anderson, Timothy Horn, right? Um, I saw Matt Dickerson make a big play on the tackle. All these guys that they put in the game, um, is producing for us in some form or fashion, right? And it's helping, not to tax out Grady Jarrett. That's why, like I said, Grady Jarrett's not playing every down, right? He need rest. But if you could bring some fresh bodies in and you won't see a drop off that much, That's what you want to. That's what you want to see. One thing we can't say, like we're not seeing the sacks, but I would say we don't have the sacks in the last two games. Of course, the last game, um, that the roughing the passer, we got Brady on the ground. They called roughing the passer. Yesterday, Armor Eddie Katie and Grady Jarrett got a half a sack apiece, and Lorenzo Carter, they called a hold on him to nullify that sack. So these guys are getting home, right? Like I said, sometimes you just gotta look at the game within the game. Don't worry about the numbers. Yeah, we say 55 paper. Yes, Nate Lemon, he was out there. Like I said, that inside linebacker depth is something, man. You think about Michael Walker didn't play. We still ain't seen Nick Kwiatkowski that much, getting that much time. Um, but I mean, that's answer your question why they let Debo go to Cleveland, um, to to re jump his career because they stay happy with their inside guys. Hate to hear OZ called a third and fourth receiver. He got great hands. Yeah, you know what? It's so crazy because I just talked about um Drake London and Kyle Pitts, and I left out Alumdace Kids, and that's my bad because he is just as important to the receiving core as those two guys. He made great plays. He's been making great plays all season long. Um, Unfortunately, like I said, we go back to the identity of this team. Run first, smash mouth football team. Guys like Demir Bird and Brian Edwards. Um, it's just not getting enough. It's not enough targets to go around to everybody, right? I mean, that's just really what it boils down to right now. Like I said, hopefully, once these guys develop their identity that they want to be smash mouth, they want to um, be that run first team, they can kind of expand the offense a little bit and open it up just a little bit and unlock that passing game. Because I even think at some point you're gonna have to do that. um, Teams are not going to let you. Gon- Good teams, good coaching, it's going to try to take away what you do best, right? And if they do that, we're going to have to start to utilize some of these guys like a Demir Bird, like a Brian Edwards, right? We're going to have to start using some of these guys. So, um, good point about OZ. I don't know why I left him off when I talked about our receiving core. Which player were your impact players on offense and defense? Um, for offense, hey, I'm gonna get to it in just a minute, but it's Marcus Mariota for me, right? Marcus Mariota, 146 passing rating, um, quarterback rating yesterday, one pass. His first incompletion was in the fourth quarter with about 10 minutes left. He played a great game. Like I said, he manipulated the 49ers all day with that run pass option he had. Um, he was killing those guys, man. And so for offensive side of the ball, I'm going to give my impact to Marcus Mariota yesterday. 3 touchdowns, one rushing, right? And then for me, on the defensive side of the ball, excuse me, on the defensive side of the ball, I'm gonna go ahead and give it to the young rookie Troy Anderson. First start, led the team in tackles yesterday, made some mistakes, but um, just seemed like he was just around the ball a lot yesterday. So those are my two impact players. It's so many other players you can give it to on both sides of the ball. Um, I think you can give the whole thing to the offensive line if you want to. Um, Grady Jarrett probably always going to be considered one of blessing. I could also gave it to Armor Ebiketie because, like I said, he was in the backfield so many times yesterday to get what's the name off his spot. But those are my two impact players. Jose becoming the fan favorite. Third down, watch out. Yes, yes. You always need somebody to to get those tough yards and big moments. And his hands, man, that snag he caught that third down was amazing. Then the the intelligence enough to actually reach out to get the first down was also awesome. So I like OZ the way he playing. I can tell you one thing: Drake London's gonna be a straight up stud, man. This guy's a rookie, and he's already trying to go out and punk DBs. You gotta love that about Drake London. Um, that's one thing I like. Just his attitude, the way he plays. Like I said, he remind me a little bit how Roddy White played, right? Um, Physical receiver, don't take no junk from DBs. But Drake London is bigger than Roddy White, which is even scarier, right? So I love that from both of those guys. All right, guys, that was the next man up. That's why this team is, like I said, continue building week to week and starting to establish some kind of identity, right? And just to go what I'm saying, they're run first, smash mouth team, physical on both sides of the ball, offensive line and defensive line. They got selfless players going out to do what they need to take to get the win. We got guys, talented guys, sacrificing for the betterment of the team. Guys like a Drake London, like a Kyle Pitt. They got that confidence in their belief because they know if our offense can't get it done, our defense can't get it done. Our defense can't get it done. Our special teams gonna put us in position, right? Team game, and then the last thing but not least, the next man up mentality. Whoever comes in, we trust you. We want you to go out and do your part. Be that one of 11, just like they've been preaching all week. I have seen talking heads say we need more passes, but Marcus Mariota didn't make any mistakes. Took that what was open, didn't force it, even missed. See, this is. I'm glad you talk about Marcus Mariota because that's my last topic. And then it's about Marcus Mariota. All right, so the honest thing about yesterday's game is Marcus Mariota executed the game plan just how it was called, right? They only had so many passes yesterday. That's how it was called, right? And when it was called for him to make those plays, he executed those plays, right? What you want quarterbacks to do is execute your game plan the way you want them to execute it. That's what he did yesterday. And then some of the things that people will never realize is his ability to not create negative plays, right? The 49ers was in the backfield a lot yesterday. They was in the backfield a lot. They really were. And Marcus Mariota had some great plays where he didn't give up a negative play, right? He was able to get out and scramble, get a couple of yards, get to the end, get pick up 2 yards here, 1 yard here, right? He was sacked twice yesterday, but for the most part, his ability not to have negative plays. Remember, every time you drop back and pass, completing the pass is not always going to happen. But if you don't create a negative play, like like for an example, you're in field goal range, right? One thing a quarterback knows, you're in field goal range. Don't take a sack. Don't take a sack, right? You got to have it in your head. Don't take a sack, right? Because it could knock you out of field goal range. That's what I'm talking about. If you're watching Marcus Mariota play yesterday, he executed the game plan almost perfectly. Right? He had one incompletion. He executed the game plan perfectly. He had that defense really not knowing where that ball was going. They didn't know he was going to keep it. He was giving it to the running back. He had 50 yards rushing yesterday himself because he pulled the ball down a couple of times and got big yards. Big play in that game is that 3rd and 13 where going into the halftime, 3rd and 13, Marcus Mariota was able to go up the middle of the gut and pick up that first down. That's one of the biggest plays in the game because the game was tied 14-14. He get that 3rd and 13 completed, and we at the end we go down and score a touchdown in that drive, put us up 21-14 going into the half. That's the what we got to say about Marcus Mariota. All week long, we've been talking about, you know, the fact that Marcus Mariota um, fumbling, you know, incompletion, inaccurate. Yesterday, you can't say any of that. No turnovers, right? We was +3 on turnovers. Um, he played a great game yesterday. If you're gonna talk about Marcus Mariota, yesterday is not one of the days you can talk about. And like I said, he executed the game plan the way it was called, right? The reason why he had 129 passing yard because really those all the passing plays Arthur Smith called, right? He had one incompletion yesterday. So I thought he executed the game to perfection yesterday for the most part. Remember, every week is not going to be like that. It's a different game plan next week, right? Um, Cincinnati Bengals will not have, that tenacious front seven like the San Francisco had yesterday. And we got to remember, San Francisco didn't have all their guys. It could have been even worse. But those guys stayed in the backfield. They're really aggressive defense. D'Amico Ryan is going to bring pressure to the quarterback. And but yesterday, Marcus Mariota just played a great game for us. And this week is gonna be different. That's what you gotta love about this team because every week, we're gonna have to see something different to get the job done. We're gonna run the ball. Don't get it twisted. We're gonna run the ball, but Marcus Mariota might have to pass the ball more next week, right? They got an explosive offense in Cincinnati. We might have to score more points, right? But those are the kind of things that um, you had to see from Marcus Mariota yesterday. So all the Desmond Ritter, want right at this point in time, we probably need to just go ahead and just rest on that this week and go on to next week. The team break our opponent's wheel. Old school basketball. Exactly, man. That's what they do. Like I said, once again, I'm gonna say it again. 40 rushes yesterday. 40 rushes. And everybody that rushed the ball rushed with that what you call Caleb Huntley, El Toro, rush like a bull. Tyler Algier is hard to bring down. Caleb Huntley is hard to bring down. I mean, they don't forget about CP, right? Don't forget about CP. Um, just big. All those guys are big, and they're built different. So that's why Arthur Smith don't care when he called a running play. He's not calling it for a player, right? He's calling whoever's in the game at the time. Go out and get some yards, and those guys get positive yards, right? It might be 2 yards here, 3 yards here, but at the end of the day, those yards start to add up. And like I said earlier, Fred Warner starting to feel all those pulling guards and centers coming up to the next level. He's starting to feel that fullback and Parker Hesse coming out the backfield, right? He's starting to feel that, just like he said, breaking their will. I salute Marco for what he did yesterday. He really showed what he can contribute to our team. I just need for him to keep the same momentum from week to week. Hey, like I said, it's it's a you want to build each week, right? That's what you want to do. You want to build from week to week. Um, you can't make excuses, right? This is professional, but at the end of the day, this just his sixth start that he has had, and in over 2 years. So maybe he was a little rusty, right? Not making excuses for him, but yesterday he executed the game plan well. It's going to be a different game plan this week, obviously, different opponent. Um, they're going to go out and see some of the weaknesses they could do to exploit. They might be able to exploit more things in the passing game, right? He got to have time, right? Um, I can tell you yesterday he did not have a lot of time, to go through progressions and complete passes yesterday because the way that defense is so tenacious is getting after the quarterback. But he might have a little time this week. Now, the Cincinnati Bingo does have a good pass rush themselves. So it's going to be tough. Like I said, and we might have to actually score more points next week. Might have to actually air out the ball a little bit. But I can tell you, Arthur Smith game plan is to go out and try to manage the clock once again, time possession, have those 11 play drives. I can tell you right now, when a quarterback on the opposing team just sitting on the sideline and watching the other team just hold the ball for 6, 7, 8 minutes, and his arms getting cold. All those guys just sitting there like, man, or when are we going to get back out, right? And then somebody said earlier they start depressing, right? Because they don't know how many more possessions they're going to get, right? So they want to get try to get some momentum going, and then they go three and out again. Guess what? Their defense is right back out on the field. That's the wheel, and that's the spirit you break when you have those long drives, like Arthur Smith trying to have. Yep, he's man, he's calling a great game, guys. That's one thing about Arthur Smith. Um, and this is one of the reasons why he was so sought out in the coaching because of his ability to use the game. We all knew he was going to go heavy 12 personnel, right? He loves running tight ends. He sometimes he go 13 personnel, three tight ends. That's what he does. 12 and 13 personnel. That's what he loves. That's why he got tight ends on the field. Nobody quite sure why he has Felipe Franks out there though, because it's definitely don't seem like he actually does a lot. Kendall, what's going on, man? What's going on, Kendall? Ain't heard from you. I ain't seen you in a long time, man. What's going on, bro? I'm giving 5 stars to Smith Peas and Hart playing all day. Yeah, like I said, man, this is a veteran coaching staff. Archie Smith, he been a head coach for 2 years, but of course he been in the league for a long time. It started from ground up being equipment manager. Guys like that. Coach defense, coach the tight ends. Um, you know, then he was came offensive coordinator, right? So he's been up through there. And then one thing about Arthur Smith, what people kind of forget is that Tennessee Titans had so many different head coaches. Archie Smith was a mainstay there. He stayed there through like 4 or 5 different head coaches. So his character, just being there in Tennessee for some reason, they wanted to keep him on the new coach wanted to keep him there, and he got his last opportunity there, you know, and was able to actually make the best of it. The 2 years he was offensive coordinator in Tennessee, had the first and second best offense those 2 years, right? And here we go. We can start to do that now. Right now we got a top 5 rushing offense in the league. We 3-3, right in the mix of a definitely playoff position. Right now I think we like ninth, which is a lot of teams right close, 3-3. But it's keeping us in it, guys. It's a surprising team, just like the Falcons, I guess. If you think about it, the New York Giants 5-1, Minnesota Vikings are 5-1. Um, Everybody, darling teams, the Green Bay Packers, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, all those two teams are definitely um, the same 3-3 with the Falcons. Got the Cowboys. It's a good team. They're what 4-2. So the Philadelphia Eagles, the only undefeated team left. So it's a tough, tough conference. Still got 10 games left, right? Oh, actually 11 games, right? We play 17 games now. Still got 17 games left, 11 games left. So still a long season to go. But right now the Falcons in the mix to do the things that they got to do. That's where we're at. And I give both of those guys 5. I give them 6 stars. Let's just give them 6 instead of 5 stars. Yeah, guys. So I've been on here an hour, but those are the things that I want to come on and talk about today. Um, let's go ahead and, like I said, put this game away. Um, they got the W to get back to 500. Um, let's see, can we get over 500 this week? That's what we want to do. We want to see, can we somehow, some way, um, go up to Cincinnati and try to stack some momentum and actually see, can we get over 500? Right? Tough, another tough game. In my opinion, I thought this was one of the hardest stretches for the Atlanta Falcons. I also said this was going to tell me a lot about this team, Tampa Bay 49ers and Cincinnati, three playoff teams that we had to go up against, right? On one of the toughest stretches that we had coming up. So let's see how these guys go do in Cincinnati this week. Come back on Wednesday for me to talk about my keys to victory and see how what these guys are able to do. Being creative with his calls, like Ricondo said, Pruitt get a TD because everyone's started. Yeah, they had Drake and Kyle on the other side, 100%, and then Pruitt right there, right, one-on-one coverage. Nobody thought he was going to Michael Pruitt on that play. Um, I sure didn't. I can be honest with you. He had me fooled on that. But um, we talked. What's crazy is we was talking about red zone percentages, and we was sitting at 50% for a while. Um, in those first couple of games. Now I have to go look. I'm not 100% sure what their red zone percentage is, um, but we definitely gonna. It's better than what it was, right? And like I said, he was one of the best offensive play calls in the red zone when he was with the Titans, and we was all trying to see where's that, where's that mojo that he had. And he's starting to click, starting to click, guys. It really is, right? The ability to run the ball. I'm telling you, the ability to run the ball, which he was not really able to do last year, um, and it was really strange, right? Because he really only made one move, really on the offensive line, which is Elijah Wilkinson. Of course, we made Drew Dalman, but Drew Dalman was here last year. But the ability for this offensive line to start develop that chemistry like they're doing, um is amazing, right? Because we could not run the ball like this last year, and we really didn't make a whole lot of wholesale changes on the offensive line coming into the season. I really believe that that's probably one of our weak spots. Thinking that, um, um, I was I'm so glad I was mistaken about that. These guys have played great. Still got some holes, like I said. I think a little bit much too much pressure on the quarterback at times, but being able to run the ball is really helping us with that. So, and Marcus Mariota ability to be mobile in some instances and get us out of negative plays, like I mentioned earlier, is definitely helping us with that as well. Mark says we're coming for your Bengals. That's right. Which they're saying they got that who they, right? Who they, all them teams that say that who that. We don't like those guys. And then say the key is to run the darn ball. That's the key, man. If we run the ball, it helps in the red zone. It helps with the time possession, and it to me is what I talked about earlier. It creates that identity, and that culture that you want to have. A physical, smash mouth football team, big in the trenches on the defensive and offensive line. Right, that's what we're trying to see. So, guys, that's all I have. Like I said, definitely come back here on Wednesday to get my keys. We'll talk about that. Um, what I think, how we're going to actually go out and get another W against the Cincinnati Bengals on Sunday. Like I said, guys, please share this video to the other Falcon fans out there. You can share it to the Bengal fans, share it to the Aints fans, to the 49er fans, all the things you can see, because I want everybody to know. Um, that the Falcons are coming, right? That's what they're gonna do. And this is coming from me, a real Falcon fan. So, like I said, guys, this is your boy Ricondo coming back at you with another video. Peace.